Chapter 65 took us back to where I thought we were going to be. The Zodyl and Rudo confrontation. And before we get into that, my apologies on this Rio video. I'm coloring legitimately every panel. It's taking a lot longer than I expected. But trust, I'm coming with some facts and shit that I gotta disprove a lot of what we knew and what a lot of people were speculating. So that's that, right? But this chapter definitely caught me by surprise. I will say, Zodyl being manipulative, a revelation that I had with Amo probably not coming back. The fact that Zodyl's been trying to replicate the Watchman series, we'll get into the discrepancies between that and the PL2 scans a little later. It also has something to deal with my recto theory as well. And this giant kaiju beast. This was pretty tight because it makes me feel like with Guida being here, we're gonna have a kaiju battle. So before we get into any of that, man, if you are new to the channel and have yet to subscribe, make sure you go down below, hit the link in the description of the red subscribe button. Y'all know I'm trying to hit 10K by the end of the summer. We're close to 4K. We're like 20 people away, man. So if you guys are new, make sure y'all hit the subscribe button. Come support your boy. Become a member. And with that being said, let's drop the intro. So we had this conversation last week. Actually, it was 2 weeks ago because Gachi went on break last week. What was gonna happen after chapter 64? What was gonna happen after the whole Rio situation? Were we gonna go back to Rudo and Zodyl? Were we gonna go back to Engine and the little homie whose name I keep forgetting? Were we gonna go back to the Santa Bros and Bundis? So many different possibilities, but we actually came back to somewhere that I was far more curious to go back to, and that is Zodyl and Rudo. This is something that I was very curious about because I wanted to know the approach Zodyl was going to take to try to force Rudo to go up above, right? That was the crux of this entire situation. What is he going to do? How is he going to force him? How is he going to persuade him? What angle is he going to take? And it really peers into Zodyl's manipulative nature, right? Because with the plans being destroyed by Rio, I'm pretty sure that was the information relayed by Kutoni, right? Somebody fucked up our plans. We need to move forward. And with that ruining all of Zodyl's plans, it seems that he had to act out of character, right? Which was far more interesting to me because from what we know, everything always goes according to plan for Zodyl. So with things not going as scripted by him, he had to act out of character and rush the plan. I thought that that was cool because now we're seeing a side of Zodyl that I didn't think we were gonna see. He began to get a little more manipulative than I thought, right? You see the tone that he was presenting these ideas with. You see his mannerisms and gestures, and it was all the more implying how manipulative he is. But he failed. He failed because now he's being forceful. The line that really set this in stone, because we all know Rudo is very brash, aggressive, and forward thinking, right? Like he can only think in an angry fashion, and that's something that pissed Zodyl off because as they were arguing back and forth, what Zodyl said caught my eye, and that was, I wish a more cool-headed spherite could have fallen from the sky. Now, you may not think that that's important, but in the grand scheme of things, it is because we know that Zodyl has been trying to manipulate Rudo from the moment they met. And with Rudo being Rudo, Zodyl could not figure out how to do it. And this was the straw that broke the camel's back because as he's trying to talk to him, right? Like, do you need me to show you a picture book? Do you need me to explain this a lot more? He thinks that with his words, he's going to be able to manipulate Rudo, but that doesn't work because, again, Rudo is one-track minded. But then we learn that Zodyl has been trying to replicate the Watchman series. So with Zodyl having been trying to recreate the Watchman series, he ended up producing something entirely different, right? That was the aberrant beast, right? The large ones that were created by him with other people's jinkies. I hate calling them vital instruments because it sounds so standard, you know, and I hate that. With that in mind, let's keep that in mind. He's been trying to recreate it and he couldn't, so he kept experimenting and experimenting and experimenting until he created these things. And again, we learned that the Watchman series has been in active service for, you know, a very long time. And he says the owner of these items must have had considerably powerful animals. No matter what he tried, he could not create the next Watchman series. But what does this entail? It's something that I thought about for a minute, right? He wasn't able to produce the Watchman series because he didn't know how. This points back to my Regto theory of Regto being the creator of the Watchman series, because I know it's a reach and I know it's something that we don't think about quite often, but that book that Regto had, could that have been like the recipe? And did the angels know? And in them knowing that was the case, maybe they understood that Zodyl was going to get his hands on this book somehow, so that way he could replicate it. Man, it's so much to this, it's hard to put into words. And it also coincides with the thing that we saw at the beginning, right? So in learning all of this, I wonder if the thing that we saw was not really the barrier or the border when Rudo was falling. Could that have been one of Zodyl's experiments? That adds yet another layer to the mystery and the mystique of Gachiakuta, you know what I mean? Very, very, very sick. But for all Amo fans, I fear that this is it. Right? On some Michael Jackson shit, this is it. I fear that with throwing these boots into this giant aberrant beast, which I haven't got around to talking about yet, I think that is like a signal that it is over. Because they're gone now. I mean, they're not really gone. Very unfortunate. But let's get back to the story at hand. So Zodyl ends up creating this giant beast, and he goes on to say, obviously I'm using different panels to explain this, but he says it's a waste of breath to ask you how you plan to get up there. So allow me to show you, right? He creates this thing and he says, we'll jump. He is of the mindset that we're just gonna jump. We're just gonna bypass the barrier and we're gonna get up there. Question is, does he have a way to bypass the barrier? My theory is he thinks that since he has Rudo, that he can bypass it, right? Because he survived. He survived the fall. But I don't think that guarantees a safe passage up there. And one thing that I do want to bring up again is the book. Right? The book that Regto has. Maybe he has in that book the way to create a safe passage to and from. Obviously, the angels know that too. Those are the wild card, right? I know I'm jumping all over the place and I'm deviating a lot, but the angels are the wild card to this whole thing, because obviously they know the way back and forth. Obviously they're tied in with Regto in a way because it's still in Rudo's head that they killed him. So again, I don't think that just by Rudo being there, they're gonna be able to jump directly to the sphere. That is baffling. And here's another reason why I don't think they're gonna be able to make it there. Guida is here. And I don't think Guida is going to let this happen. It's gonna be one of those right place, right time. You know what I mean? And is this gonna initiate a kaiju battle? That would be so sick, right? Like maybe she's able to transform into a giant fucking dinosaur and we're gonna fight this thing. That would be sick. Again, she's obviously not going to let Rudo be taken away without her consent. I still think they're going to be able to show up in time to stop Zodyl. I also think that Zodyl is not the final boss. I think that there is an even bigger threat looming, man. I have this looming thought that some really bad shit is about to pop off. But anyways, those are my thoughts on chapter 65. It's so much that was left on the table from the previous chapter that I'm still trying to figure things out with that, right? I'm still putting together things with that. There was a lot of things that y'all brought up in the comment section that I'm going to have to dispel anyway, because a lot of it is false, and I went back and I read a lot of it. I reread Gachiakuta through the official scans, and yeah, there was a lot that y'all got wrong. But anyways, we're gonna save that for the Rio video. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. Like I said, it was very interesting, man. We got to see a flustered Zodyl. We got to learn more about the Watchman series. We also got to learn more, like I said, more about Zodyl. Not even just his manipulative nature, but just the lengths that he's been trying to go to recreate the Watchman series and just bring down the sphere. Very interesting, very interesting. It has me excited for the next chapter, because is this the climax? Is this the climax of this arc? Maybe so, maybe so. It could be, could not be. Very excited to see how that turns out. Thank you guys for continuously supporting your boy. I'm sorry if this video was way longer than expected. Let me know if you guys like this more, right? Like, I know I be cutting the videos short. I be cutting out a lot of the things I say because I feel like you guys aren't gonna wanna see like in-depth breakdowns of chapters, because it just doesn't seem like that based on, you know, the analytics. If you guys do want to see longer, more in-depth breakdown videos, make sure y'all let me know, because I'll do it. I'll do it, bro. I'll do it. I'll fuck around and do it, because I want to, obviously I'm here to please y'all, but I'm also here to relay the most amount of information that I can without like sacrificing length and quality, right? But yeah, man, it's your boy, DomoSenpai, and I will catch you guys in the next video.